Hi, how are you? And welcome to this YouTube channel. Again here on YouTube. Welcome to this YouTube channel here again on YouTube. Spot the obvious spot that's called, I think. Okay, right, here we have a nice Dell Precision 340, and basically I'm just going to show you this quick video. Because it might be of something of interest, and also in some old forums there people were asking questions. Well, this Dimension 340 came with a 2.4 GHz Pentium 4. It now currently has a Celeron 2.4 GHz. So what we're going to do, although I won't have time this morning, I'll probably do it a little bit later on, but by the time these videos are uploaded to YouTube it'll seem absolutely seamless. Is basically we'll run 3D Mark 03 or something on it. We leave the video card as it is, but we'll run the processor 2.4 with 1 GHz with 1 GB of RAM, and then we'll run with the 2.4 at 2 GB of RAM. The reason being is I tried to purchase 2 gigs of Rambus RAM for this machine, for my sins, and basically it didn't work. Now, the question is, why didn't it work? Let's put this camera down here while I open this machine up for you. This is one of the last machines that was made in Ireland. I don't mean the last machines, as in there was no more made after this. I mean this was made in Ireland, and most machines now that Dell make are made over in Poland. So here we have the inside of this Dell machine. So the problem I had was with this stuff here. It's called R.I.M Rambus inline memory modules. These babies here, you know. So the RIMM RAM, that's a nice rhyme, was designed with the Pentium 4 in mind, but it just turned out to be a very expensive failure. Why was that? Well, because cheaper RAM were coming along, the DDR style RAM with the Athlon and so on, and eventually Pentium 4, you know, people at Intel making Pentium 4 so the fact will jump ship and we'll go over to the cheaper DDR and SD RAM. I'll have to come back to you in a mo, and I'll continue this on because this battery is about to die and I won't be able to continue on if I continue on. If you continue on and catch my drift. Do you get me? I don't. Back in a mo. To the inside of this particular Dell Precision 340. The problems we had were with the system RAM. The system RAM that was in this machine was 40 nanosecond RAM, which was fine when I had the original stock 2.4 in it from Intel. This is the particular chip here. It's a 2.4. Now this particular 2.4, I'll just read it out to you there, is 2.4 GHz, 512 cache, 533 frontside bus, and a voltage of 1.525. It's very specific, isn't it? The Celeron chip that's in here now at the moment is, again, it's a 2.4, but it's only got 128 kilobytes of cache, and it's only a 400 frontside bus. Now, the reason why I downgraded the C.P.U. is I upgraded this C.P.U. I went from 2.4 to 2.6, I then tried a 2.8, and I then tried a 3. Now, I think it was a 3, well, it was a 3, roughly a 3, let's say. The reason why I tried the 3 is because I was trying to test out if this machine would take hyper-threading. Now, the chipset that's in it is the Intel 850E, and it should take a hyper-threaded CPU, but the Dell BIOS doesn't accept or read this particular chip, so I had to basically abandon that idea. In the meantime, then I had purchased this RAM, which is 45 nanosecond, and then I realised that I actually needed 40 nanosecond. Now this is something that, to be honest with you, I've been playing with PCs and messing with them and maintaining them and building them and all sorts of stuff for many years, and never having the mispleasure of using Rambus RAM in a machine. Because I was selling mainly AMDs, to be honest with you. I never really thought about the actual nanosecond speed of the RAM being very important. Why? Well, on any other machine, if I put in slower RAM or whatever, it wouldn't really matter. It would just run at the slower speed. But it does matter with Rambus. Basically, the front side bus on the computer is related to in the RAM insofar as that if the RAM is of a different speed, it just won't bloomin' well work. It'll come up with an error saying you must install faster RAM, the faster nanosecond RAM. Well, let's have a ramble around the board here for a second. Let's explain some of the features of this particular board. I can give you some details about it because I know them. The reason why I know them is this particular machine was gifted to me. It hasn't had a very hard life. It was built, as far as the stamp is concerned, on the 26th of October 2002. And to be honest with you, I never really used it. The video card that's in it is something I just put in there recently. The video card that was in it, what was in it? It was supposed to have a NVIDIA Quattro from the specs that I read, or a Radeon VE. It had neither. It had a ATI Rage 128. Now I am a big fan of ATI, in fairness. But to be honest with you, I put the Quattro into it, the Quattro, what's a Quattro FX 1000, and it kicked its ass. It was a fantastic card. It ran the 3D Mark 03 beautifully with 1 gigabit of RAM. Now what I've done now is I've installed this ATI Radeon 9800 XT, which was the first card to be able to support the new video game of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So we might try that later on and see if it actually runs in it. But actually might be the best experiment to test. The RAM in this is now 2 gigabytes. Sorry. The reason why it's now 2 is because, like I said, I bought it. But the problem was that when I had the original Pentium 4 in here, it wouldn't run it because it required the faster RAM. As I said, if you've got a machine out there and you're trying to upgrade it, this particular machine, two things: you can't put 2 gigs in unless you got the 40 with the Pentium 4 2.4, or you can put 45 in with a 2.4 Celeron. That works okay. Speed wise, I haven't really put too much test on it yet, but to be honest with you, I'd rather have a little bit more RAM and a little bit less speed, to be honest with you, because RAM is very helpful on the machine to improve the overall performance rather than, you know, sort of raw, you know, speed up. The heat in here, my god, the heat in here. Okay, now what I was going to tell you about this board, its code name was Tell Me E. It was conceived in May of 2002, so this particular machine was very, very modern for its time. So when this machine came out, it would have been top of the range. So Dell were quite generous to me at the time. They were trying to basically, what it was I was selling Dells to customers directly, and Dell were giving me a discount on them. So the idea was that you'd buy a Dell from me, I'd support it, and Dell would give me a discount on the actual machine I sold to you. It was a nice little setup, and it worked very well. In fairness to Dell, they did support it as well. If there was a major issue, Dell of course would cover warranty and parts and that, and they would send an engineer out. So Dell were very good when it came to it. That's when they were here in Ireland. Other features of this board: the front side bus is 400 or 533, so that makes life a little bit easier. If you've got the 850 chipset version of this board, then you know this is the only RAM that's going to work anyway, really, because you've got the front side bus maximum 400, so that RAM there will do the job for you, you know. Somebody maybe would correct me on this. I don't have the machine anymore, but I was nearly positive I had a Dell Pentium 3 with Rambus RAM on it, because I have a lot of RAM that I marked as P3 in it for some reason. I was sure it was exclusive to the Pentium 4, but I thought I had a Pentium 3 which had it. I don't have it anymore, so I can't prove it either way, but if somebody wants to look that up, go ahead. This particular machine will take the Pentium 4 to Celeron. Obviously I've put a Pentium 4 into it, I put a 2.4 into it, 2.6 into it, 2.8 into it, and it was a 3 something gigahertz processor with hyperthreading. It was a mobile version of the chip, but it reads it as a 1.6. This chipset should read the hyperthreading, but the Dell BIOS doesn't let you, and obviously there might be something on the board that's not letting you either, but the 850 chipset should let you read a hyperthreading chip, providing of course it meets the 400 or 533 MHz front side bus. This particular chipset won't take dual CPUs. The Rambus RAM that it'll take will be PC 800 or PC 1066 dual channel. The maximum RAM which I've now got in this, it'll take, is 2 gigabytes. The 2 gigabytes of RAM that are in this is obviously this this stuff here. This is the RAM here with the lovely heat sinks on. The heat of that is astounding. But yeah, it'll take 2 gigs at PC 800, or it'll take 1.5 gigabytes at PC 1066. Memory banks, it's got 2. Now you're saying to yourself, oh, it's got 4. Well, it hasn't really got 4. It has got 2. The way it works is, if I want to install just 2 pieces here, I've then got to install dummy RAM pieces. The name of them, you know, off the top of my head I can't remember what the name of them is, but again I'm sure somebody's going to say, oh, they're called such and such. So read the comments below, somebody will tell you what they're called, or I'll remember anyway and I'll type it into my more info. The PCI speed and width is 33 megahertz at 32 bits. The AGP on this unfortunately is only 4x. This particular card from ATI, this is an ATI 9800 XT 256 DDR2, and it is AGP 2x, sorry, AGP 4x and 8x. So it'll work on either of them, but this board only supports 4x. That's the AGP slot down there, in case you're wondering. A little green thing. There, on most boards they're usually brown, but I have a funny feeling that Dell were going for a sort of a green thing. Maybe it's an Irish thing, you know, where everything was green inside the machines, you know, for Ireland, you know. I have seen machines with blue inside, so maybe that was, you know, they were thinking of a different flag there, you know. Little, I don't know. Probably not, but just sounds interesting anyway. And what else would you say? The Southbridge hub is an ICH2, but sure, who really cares about that? Chipset 850, as I said, 850E. That is basically it. It's a standard power supply, meets the ATX form factor, this power supply. It's nothing unusual. It's a 20-pin power supply with the Pentium 4 extra 12-volt connector header. There is down there. That basically gives extra power because his processors got a bit more powerful and wanted to be a bit more stable. It really did help, you know. Okay, as you can see down there, there is that E number there is the Intel board number. So what you can do is you can track from that what BIOS could possibly go on this. You could chance your arm with a BIOS, but I did do it once on a gateway where I turned it from gateway to just a normal Intel desktop board. I think it was more luck than anything else, because to be honest with you, when you're updating a BIOS, whether it be a Dell BIOS or a gateway BIOS or AMD or whatever, what it will do is it will look for a tag. You've probably seen it when the computer turns on, there's a tag comes along the bottom, there'll be like a bunch of numbers and it might say Dell in the middle of it. Well, that tag on an Intel board will probably say Intel. So in other words, if you then try to update with a BIOS from Intel onto a Dell board, it'll just say, oh no, can't install because the tags don't match, which is fair enough, because you don't really want to be frying a motherboard with a BIOS on it that's not compatible. But that is the Intel board number there. It doesn't really conform, I should say, to any standard ATX form factor. You can see there's a notch out here on the board. So you know, I mean, that's not very good. An ATX form factor would end around about here. This form factor is slightly bigger, with an extra little piece on the end. But it's one of those boards that's easy to remove. If you want to remove this board in a hurry, there's your little clip there. So you undo the bolt and then whoosh, out she comes. You know. So it's one of those machines where it's great for enterprise, where you've got a machine that you need to repair quickly, and you know, Dell will let you do that. Also, of course, you've got the quick release on the card slots and the quick release on the hard drives. So that quick release is very, very handy. This machine is on at the moment, by the way, so this is probably going to be the dodgiest thing ever. But if you just grab the sides of them, you see, you can just slide it right out. That is very, very handy for upgrading, maintaining and repairing PCs. But to be honest with you, most people nowadays, unless you're going to be an accountant, or you know, unless you're going to be, you know, stuck to a desk all day, a lot of people are going to be going for, you know, the padded devices. I won't mention any particular brand because that's not fair. So there you are. Alright, and thanks for watching, and we will hopefully talk to you a little bit later. what we would try, we're going to have to try some games in it, or some sort of programs that are, you know, run the likes of the 3D Mark, and to see how that goes. Alright, see you in a bit, bye bye. Hi, welcome back. We're actually just here, we're installing 3D Mark 05, and the excitement is mounting. This is the same Dell Precision 340 from the last video. I'm amazed anybody watches these videos, to be honest with you. So, what are we going to do? We're going to basically run the 3D Mark on it and see what happens. 3D Mark 03 runs on it pretty well. It ran on it very well when I had a 2.4 with 1 gigabyte of RAM and the Quattro FX 1000. Now what I'm doing here is I'm installing it on the 2 gigs of RAM with the ATI video card, and of course for net framework is kind of suspended. What's do those changes? Oh, okay. This probably won't work now, you know. Oh well. That's worth a shot. What's this now? Ah! Purchase later. Of course. I actually have purchased the 11 version of this. It's the first one I purchased. The rest of them are only all the demos, you know. And here's my cat now to say hello. There he is. Say hello to everybody. Say hello to Jim. Jim, say hello. Hello, Jim. Yeah, he wants to get in the action there. He's currently there on the windowsill looking for birds. So there you are. Yeah, I'm a cat man. Jim, your static is burning the processor. Get your tail out of that, and that's better. Okay, so 3D Mark 05. Let's go. Oh yeah. Now we're making bacon. What will we run the demo? We'll run the demo. Used to be a bit of sound, a bit of music. Oh yeah. Right, okay, so this is just telling me to buy the Pro version. Actually, I think I tried to buy one of these and it said I couldn't because it was an old version and I should really buy a newer version, which, to be honest with you, you're probably better off, but no, I've never. What will we do? Demo. Yeah? We just standard settings anyway, so okay, here we go. Here's the demo. We'll add a bit of volume more. Volume. You put the volume through it. They put the volume into your hair, you know. And there you have the first part of 3D Mark 05 demo. The cat didn't walk across it this time. He's now behind the screen, so he's hiding, you know. Still checking out the birds though. Dirty boy. Alright, now the rest, if you want to see the rest of the demo, you'll have to purchase the program. There's about 4 parts to it. Obviously I don't have them because I haven't bought the software, so I can't show it to you. Anyway, that'll give you an idea of the graphical capability of the video card. You can probably see the details of it there. What we'll do is we'll get a bit closer. I'll actually physically move. Whoa, big bush. We physically move in there for you. So then we'll zoom that out a bit and we'll pan it down just a slight bit. Okay, right, so there we are. Now, so you got the GPU, graphical processing unit, which is the Radeon, the 9800 XT. My first major one was the 8500. I then went to the 9700 Pro. Then went to the 9800 Pro, and then the 9800 XT, which added extra features. It was the 9800 and the 9800 XT were very similar, apart from a couple of extra extensions. Like there wasn't a hell of a lot in it, really, to be honest with you. But anyway, I won't be able to change any of these things because I haven't bought the software, you know. Let me see, if I say register, I say port, let's see what it says for the crack. Let's see what it tries to. I've tried to buy it, what's this say? Unsupported benchmarks. Yeah, I knew it said something like that. Doesn't let you do it anymore, you know. These should not be used on modern hardware, do you see that? This is modern hardware though, it's ancient, man. Good God, man. I think Moses used this, you know. Shouldn't be used anymore yet. They don't give them away for free. Did you notice that? Yeah. Ooh. Very slow, isn't it? It's bizarre. Okay, so that's basically it. There's nothing else I can really show you. I hope you enjoyed that little clip and the starring role the cat had. And I will talk to you later. Hi, how are you? This is Christian here again. Just wanted to show you something of interest. You might find this of interest. We were just talking there. Well, hopefully I've uploaded a video. If I haven't, it's not going to make any sense. But I was talking about a Dell computer that we were running 1 gigabit of RAM on, and we upgraded to 2, and the problems we have with the processor and the front side buses and all that sort of crack. Well, this is another Dell computer, and this is a very strange Dell computer insofar as I've actually modified this Dell. It used to be a Pentium 4 2.4 with no AGP slot, with nothing of any great benefit in it. I was about to throw the whole lot out, motherboard and all, when I looked at the case. I looked over at my universal 8-bit motherboard and then realised, ooh, that might fit inside that case. So what we have here is an 8-bit motherboard with 8 gigabytes of DDR2 RAM, and the processor in here is a Phenom X3. Now this particular fan that you see here with the heat pipes didn't actually come with this chip. The fan that came with the chip was just a standard AMD fan with no heat pipes, but this particular one came from another CPU that I had that decided to burn itself out. So I was having trouble, or should I say my wife was having trouble with the computer downstairs, and oh, this is very slow. This is the board that was in it, and as I discovered, I cleaned the machine up and took the processor off and put some nice new thermal paste on it, and done a few cleaning and vacuuming to it and all that sort of stuff, general maintenance, and then realised the machine was working a hell of a lot better. The other problem, of course, I noticed was the actual CPU, the thermal paste that was on it was that grey thermal paste you've probably seen, which comes standard with a lot of AMD chips, and it had managed to bake itself on there. So, you know, cleaning it up and replacing it seemed to make a bit of a difference. I have actually upgraded that other machine now to a 6-core, and the machine that was a 6-core I now upgraded to an 8-core. So I have an 8-core, 6-core and this 3-core. I don't just have the old 486s, what? Anyway, the other thing I wanted to show you was this power supply. This power supply is from CIT. Now, on a Yahoo Answers forum, somebody asked me what sort of power supply would I recommend, and I recommended the CIT 750 watt. Presuming it was the same as this 750 CIT 750 watt. Now this particular 750 CIT power supply is a lovely power supply. It's got, the weight of it is about, you know, 40 kilos, and the build quality inside is absolutely fan-dabby-dooby, and the cable quality is fantastic, and the overall quality of it is really top end. However, I've bought another one of these power supplies just there recently from my distributor, as it were, and it's an OEM power supply, exactly the same, came in a white box, all the usual. The label on it was identical to the label you've just seen there in this particular power supply, but there was a bit of a problem. It was half the weight, and to be honest with you, half the quality. So I would say to you now, don't bother with that. Go for an OCZ one or something like that. The OCZ one I thought was very good. Very impressed with the modding capability, where you could put in as many cables or as little as you want. The video card in this, by the way, again, is another ATI. I'm a big fan of ATI, so you're not often going to see NVIDIA. I do like some of the NVIDIA stuff, but to be honest with you, I've become an ATI fan, and I'm just used to them. So when I see a new ATI / AMD as they're now known video card, I can see the difference because I know what the last one performed like. One of the other quick things is if you have an NVIDIA MX 400, 440, I love those cards. They were great, you know. So, you know what I mean, there are some of the NVIDIA cards. Oh, also the Quattro. That Quattro card is fantastic. That Quattro 1000, I was using that Dell machine. Wow, what a card, you know. Really is very good. I was actually astounded to how well the actual video card performed with only 128 megs of RAM on it, 1 gig computer with a 2.4 Pentium 4. The other little thing you might want to note is this is an ABIT, as I was saying. This company has gone out of business, they no longer exist, but they have made some very good boards over the time. Anyway, that's 5 minutes. Just wanted to show you this machine, thought you might be interested. And that's basically it. It is in a modded Dell case, by the way. This is the Dell it was originally in. As you can see, it says Dimension 2400, which it certainly isn't. I have modified the LED light on the power supply to be blue, so you know what I mean, it just makes it a little bit more interesting that way as well. As in stored with the rest of my thousands of PCs, and I happen to plug it in, I know that hey, this is not just a Dell, this is an AMD. So that's basically it. I hope it's nice and neat for all you case modders out there. There's a great big, dirty fan here that was designed for the Pentium 4 with a nice cover over it, so I just left that there to give the case a little bit more ventilation. So there you are. Everything works okay, everything's fine, and that's it. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, bye bye.